Thank you for staying with us on the conversation on Lagos television. One of the main opposition figures of the current administration at the federal level is the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai of the ADC. As we speak, he has so many cobwebs hanging around his neck, from the allegation of corruption to the breach of national security, after he granted an interview on national television where he said that the phone of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, was wiretapped. For the former governor of Kaduna State, it's a complex situation as we speak. It's been quizzed by the EFCC, ICPC, and of course the DSS had equally charged him to court. Of course, he's going to have his day at the Court of Law on the 25th of February, 2025. So the whole case of allegation of corruption, breach of national security is a complex one for Malam Nasir El-Rufai. So we'll be looking at it from different angles on the program this morning. We have joining us Barrister Jide Ologun, is a lawyer and a public affairs analyst. It's our pleasure to have you.
It's my pleasure too to be with you. Thank you.
All right. Looking at the personality of the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, is very vocal, is very blunt, and of course one of the main opposition of this government, of course a member of the ADC. Looking at the volume of problem hanging around his neck, and of course that of allegation of corruption, of course that of a breach of national security. Let's start with that of allegation of corruption. Of course, the State House of Assembly, Kaduna State House of Assembly, set up a committee, and of course he was found guilty, and it was questioned as to how he misappropriated the loan that he took as governor. Of course, procurement processes were equally not followed when he was the governor. So how do you think Malam Nasir El-Rufai is going to navigate all of this problem before the 2027 election? Because there are allegations here and there that because he's blunt or a critic of this government, that's why the federal government is targeting him. But the evidences are clear before us.
Thank you very much. Let me start from the platform of the Constitution of Nigeria. There's what we call the presumption of innocence in the Constitution. So all these allegations against El-Rufai, then prosecute him and prove those allegations beyond all reasonable doubt.
Right.
By virtue of oversight functions, yes, the House of Assembly could probe and come up with those allegations. But has it been taken through the mill of prosecution? The answer is no. And that's why many will target as being political. But again, if you look at Section 1 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it clearly amplifies the supremacy of the Constitution.
Okay.
That all citizens and authority institutions are held bound by the provisions of the Constitution, including the President. Even though in Section 308, you have immunity for the President and Governor. El-Rufai is no longer
a governor.
So by virtue of the rule of law, he's a Nigerian, he's a citizen. And Section 15, subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended states clearly that the state shall abolish corrupt practices and abuse of office. So it is that procedure of abolishing that we are questioning. I mean, if he has committed those offenses, then prosecute him.
Okay.
After all, Honorable Madu was arrested, investigated in the UK, arrested, prosecuted, and jailed. The former governor of Delta State also. So I don't want us as a country to begin to throw the law inside the tube of political tires. No. Let the rule of law prevail. Let's know that we need this country to be above board. And those are my comments. So for now, I'm not swayed by allegations. Let those who are alleging go. We have the institutions. Do the needful.
So from what you've explained this morning as to the facts that, yes, many may term it as, just either immediate trial or some form of political witch hunt here. But when we look at the law, and what the law prescribes, even though you've already cited a few, constitutional laid down rules here, at what point do these allegations move from mere allegations or political claims to prosecutable offenses?
Thank you very much. Look at the case of Malami, who also can be placed on the platform of opposition.
Right.
Because he decided to move to ADC. And seeking to contest for governorship, but he was probed, investigated, and the court has ordered the interim forfeiture of properties worth about 213 billion naira. This is what we call prima facie case in law. Apparent. So you don't expect that this man should not go to jail.
Okay.
Irrespective of the office he occupied under Buhari, except he can prove to us that within those years he earned enough legitimately to acquire those properties, which also he also has the liberty to prove, so that he will not permanently forfeit those properties to the government. And that's the point we are making. Here, there must be justice in the land. Otherwise, we will just mortgage the future of this country. So he is being arraigned now. He's in court. And in the criminal justice ecosystem, there are three canons. You talk about thorough investigation. You talk about diligent prosecution. You talk about a committed judiciary. And on that, let me also echo the case of the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose. When he was in office and was enjoying office immunity, the immunity does not prevent your being investigated. So he was investigated, and the evidence and everything were housed. He was the one that even drove himself to EFCC that I don't have immunity anymore, no longer a governor, I have come. But look at how they messed up the prosecution. So after about 6 years, for lack of diligent prosecution, he's been discharged and acquitted. So if Ayodele Fayose rises up tomorrow that he wants to be president of Nigeria, will you now say he's a criminal? That he has embezzled money in Ekiti State? You cannot. Because he has not been convicted. These are mere allegations. Look at Beta Edu. Money meant for the vulnerable. She's reportedly and some allegedly swallowed the money, disappeared. What was her reward, so to say? Just step out of office, suspension, and never to return. Has she been prosecuted? No. I read recently she is now mobilizing
to come into politics again.
Presidency of 2027. Respectfully, we are not a serious country. I mean, I respectfully say that. And I have my precedents.
Okay.
I've given you some comparisons. You can just simply ask yourself, can this happen in China? Can this happen in Japan? Can this happen in Singapore? You see, recently I read, Ghana recalled a high commissioner from Nigeria that he was involved in inducing voters during elections. So if Ghana there is serious about cleaning up the environment, what? And that's why the like of El-Rufai can be talking to the federal government as if nothing can happen, you know, the big boys. No. The rule of law does not recognize big boys or big girls. The rule of law recognizes the citizens. You see, if you read Section 14 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it states clearly that sovereignty, subsection 2, belongs to the people, from whom the government derives power and authority. I mean, it's our country. It should be serving us. And I'm so worried. You hear of these billions of naira, billions of this one and that, and then And this cyber case now, you can imagine an ordinary citizen, in quote, tapping.
Boris Ologun, before we go into that particular case, let me just, as a rider to what you've said now, it's quite painful, the picture you've painted here. And so I think let's talk about the role of the EFCC and the ICPC, because they are the ones saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that due diligence is done when these allegations do come up. And you mentioned that, in the case of Ayodele Fayose, the evidence was not clear. It was not well stated. And we've also noticed that in many cases, at the end of the day, the court would usually say lack of evidence, or we're not convinced that this happened. So the EFCC and the ICPC, are they complacent, or are they not doing enough, or what should they be doing to get Nigeria these prosecutions that you've identified?
I used a word, diligence.
Right.
If you monitor the case of Ekweremadu, even from Nigeria, some tried to help him, because they investigated the passport procurement and everything. But diligent prosecution means, no, look very well into this. What is the intention of the law? And the UK said, our law frowns at organ harvesting and modern slavery. And on the scale of that, they proceeded. When the former governor of Delta State was being prosecuted in the UK,
James
he was ferried in there from Dubai, from the UAE. Some Nigerians went to court in the UK to seek the attention of the court that, he built an Olympic-sized stadium in Delta. And the judge told them point blank, on the scale of diligence, that it was not the business of the court to assess his performance in office, but to jail him for specific crime. When Ekweremadus were being prosecuted, very sentimental and emotional case. I feel for that family, and I pray that they find the relevant support to scale through the storm. But even our former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, wrote a letter to the UK seeking for leniency. I think ECOWAS took the same step. And UK insisted. No, look at a former, former now because she resigned, Deputy Prime Minister of the UK. Resigned from office. Why? Because she did not pay sufficient stamp duty in respect of a property she purchased. So when you talk of diligence, it means that job must be done thoroughly. But here in Nigeria, and I respectfully again allude to that, here is a country where the officer in charge, the prosecutor, will say he forgot a file somewhere, or there is no vehicle to bring suspect. What have we not read? What have we not heard? And you see, in industrial psychology, there is what you call reinforcement theory. So this is what some people see and say, what's the big deal about crime? Let me go and hit it big so that I can scatter when the matter comes. And that is why, again, disturbingly, when the judiciary is fast losing respect. You heard what the president of the Nigerian Bar Association rolled out recently. So we need to wake up, please. If we want to secure the future of this country, we must have the rule of law having its way. I make reference to God. God created the Garden of Eden. He put Adam there, gave him the laws of managing the garden and that relationship. And Adam decided to flout the law. God was not sentimental about it. He pushed them out of the garden and locked up his garden and said, okay, find your way. So, and we can see the countries of the world that are prosperous. They do not joke with their laws.
Right.
Okay, my question is a follow-up to Abimbola's question. I'll still make reference to ICPC and EFCC. We saw on TV and in newspapers that the ICPC thoroughly searched the residence of Malam Nasir El-Rufai, and of course, his passport was also seized when he got back from Cairo. For somebody that is still under investigation, does ICPC have the legal right to go and search his residence?
Absolutely. They must have obtained a court order to do that, you see. And if that was not done...
Because his lawyer kicked.
And lawyers will kick. I mean, it's our job.
That's the job. That's why he's being paid.
You must kick. You know? So, and under his fundamental human rights, if the proper thing has not been done, why not? Because even when El-Rufai was speaking on the television, that some people bugged the line of
the
NSA, Nuhu Ribadu. He said that the government does that regularly, you know, without authority or whatever.
Easy government.
You know, so they know themselves. But you see, it's a crime. The Cybercrime Prohibition and Prevention Act 2024 amended makes it a crime. You know, your privacy, and under Section 37 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, you know, that privacy, not just the official privacy of Nuhu Ribadu as National Security Advisor, but also his personal privacy. You see, the law is clear on this. We have the Nigerian Communication Act of 2003. These things are there, you know, and we know. But you see, Nigeria is such a place that some personalities just get to the point where they feel
they're above the law.
Yeah. So, and I suspect that is the category of people Honorable Dele Alake referred to when he said powerful people are behind illegal mining in Nigeria. You see. So see now, we are fighting insecurity. The same Malami that is faced with corruption charges and is being arraigned, you know, subject to successful prosecution, if at all. That ammunitions were found in his house, you know, and not held legitimately. So those are, so you don't portray the state as lame or docile or slothful. You don't do that. The state should be seen to be above board. And again, let me speak to this embarrassing matter we are dealing with. I expect that the telephone of the National Security Advisor be tamper-proof. It's a huge embarrassment, huge national and international embarrassment. You see, I was in the U.S. on vacation, and I recall we're driving through a particular axis in Washington, D.C. And my nephew had to warn me, "Uncle, switch off your phone." You know, there are things you don't just attempt. Recently, it's in the news in the last 24 hours. A young man was found with an object like a gun and a can in Mar-a-Lago, the estate of Trump. He was taken out.
Yeah, immediately.
He was taken out. You see? And so these are issues. National security, because let's extend this. If El-Rufai could tap into the phone of the NSA, no wonder that Brigadier General was killed by the bandits. So we have internal crisis. Yeah, you've seen, despite all the efforts of Donald Trump to see if he can help Nigeria, though with a caveat, we need to open our eyes because we have huge resources we have not been able to maximize. Because Donald Trump is an investor, he won't just come and help you
without taking anything back.
Exactly. These are issues. We need to foolproof our security architecture. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that bandits will just go and ambush. You know, we really need to work on our national profiling, and all this will speak to your reputation and your image in public relations. You know? And when people begin to consider your environment for investment, when you talk of foreign direct investments, they want to see what kind of environment that you have, you know, how secured, how...
Okay, very Ologun. I mean, the case that the DSS or the federal government through the DSS has instituted against Malam El-Rufai coming up, of course, in a few days is on what you've just mentioned now. So when you look at that particular issue and the fact that he is still facing corruption allegations, what kind of evidences do you expect that be gathered while the EFCC, because again you said you used that word, and I know you were particular about using due diligence, or diligence must be followed here. So how do we ensure that the EFCC and the ICPC do a thorough job, so at the end of the day is either, if found guilty, is prosecuted, and is not also, at the end of the day, if the case says we cannot prove, or the lawyers did not prove beyond reasonable doubt that indeed these allegations of corruption, were proven to El-Rufai. So in your own opinion, the EFCC and the ICPC, what should they be doing, even though some will say, well, we should not be disclosing that on television because they are matters of security issues. But for you as a lawyer, and also you expressed fear earlier on that the judiciary is also lagging behind at this moment. So what should the EFCC and the ICPC be concentrating on at the moment, now that, there are multiple cases against this man?
Thank you very much for that brilliant question. On the side of the misappropriation of funds, El-Rufai was a governor of Kaduna State. He was not the accountant general. The records are still there. The House of Assembly came up with a probe. Where are the reports of the probe? You can embark on, as a chief superintendent of police, I know that when the stakes are high, you can embark on forensic investigation. Nigeria has capacity. I can let anybody know that. So that is on that side. And on this case of wiretapping, that's a prima facie admission already. On an international
television.
And so what are you looking for again? So if I come out now to say I slapped the deputy governor, if you see, I gave him, partial eclipse because the man no fit see again. And they now say they are looking for who slapped deputy governor.
Then there's something
Jide
wrong.
Ologun is saying no. I mean, and that is why you see, as a public relations practitioner, I advise people, lecture and even in human resource management, please be able to manage your communication. There are things you don't disclose. In the law school, we were taught you keep your powder dry. If I'm going to give you a blow below the belt, I won't roll it out from the onset. It's, like the case of the merchant of Venice, Shylock. They were in court, and there was an agreement to have a pound of flesh. The guy kept his gunpowder dry. And right there in court, after the default, okay, yes, there's an agreement that you can have your pound of flesh. But there is no clause in that agreement that you should shed blood. So go ahead, get your pound of flesh, but please, my lord, no blood should be shed in this court. And that was the end of the matter. You see, when politicians just speak, they should go for training. They should go for training.
Or they can bring the training to them.
When I say go for training, it's either way. They are people,
So they should be able to pay for the training.
Public relations is there, to polish them on how to communicate.
Public communication.
Exactly, particularly for those at that level. It's not everything you disclose. So now he has disclosed. But again, the fear of Nigerians is that some big guys will step in and say, okay, let's downplay this. Please help the future of this country. We must deal with abuse of the rule of law. And I'm worried if we can have this level of security breach at the national level. Imagine somebody coming out to tell us that they could not link up or they could not trace the bandits effectively because they are using international lines. International internet. Nigeria that gained independence in 1960.
Shouldn't internet be internet?
Well, imagine senators telling us that the real-time transmission
of results
cannot be achieved because about 9 states are not internet
compliant.
I mean, we need to work diligently so.
Yeah, Mr. Ologun, now that we have the evidence that, okay, El-Rufai actually said that on national TV, what are the consequences of his action, and what are the sanctions that is likely to face in line with the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria at the end of the day? Because I don't see him escaping this sanction. I don't. Because that evidence is there.
I admire your
positivity.
Because the evidence is there. He said it. It was not AI. So what are the consequences as the likely sanctions that is likely to face?
The sanctions are in the law. We don't have all the time to be doing, and it depends on where the prosecution moves, you know. So, but again, like I have said, that is if the prosecution even flies through at all. Where is Hadi Sirika's case? You know, I can go on and on, you know. Look at okay, look at when the issue of Emefiele started. Oh, is this one, is that one, is this one? If not, and I'm saying this in a lighter mood, if not because Emefiele supervised the change of Naira and everything, and unfortunately for him, the man they wanted to stop got in there. Maybe his case would have, some people would have come into, so okay, just take those duplexes in Abuja.
But this one in question is more serious. National security.
More serious coming from you. How serious is it to... You don't know how some of these our leaders operate. It's game. So they are all connected.
Could it have also been a game that...
Yes, politicians are connected. Recently, Ngige was arrested. I mean, and everybody, yeah, so where's the matter now? Where's the matter? So if by next week, El-Rufai says, I'm defecting to APC because I've seen my wrongs, what happens? Or you have forgotten that Oshomole, when he was the chairman of APC, said,
and once you cross to the party,
your sins are forgiven.
Yeah.
Or if Malawi says tomorrow that he's moving his supporters to APC, you know, it's just a boy, and we have seized your properties. Okay, leave those ones. So what can we do now? You know, so prosecutor will not show up in court, and then files will disappear, and then.
And then does that mean that Nigeria is some kind of comedy?
I'm not saying that too. I'm just giving you some things we have seen, you know, some precedents, and you know what I mean. So clear cases.
Yeah, from what you've said this morning and the facts that, you know, sometimes Nigerians would like to be very positive or be as positive as Jibola this morning, who's very, very positive about whether or not El-Rufai's case will, you know, end the way he wants it to end. But when you see cases like this, and even cases before now, ending in ways that you didn't think of, ways that you never envisaged because you were thinking, oh, this should have actually ended this way. What kind of examples are we really laying for public office holders? Again, in Nigeria, we would always say, I can always go and do that and nothing will come out of it. Is there a future for this kind of behavior? And when we're talking about leaving a better Nigeria or leaving a legacy behind?
In public relations, we have a Chinese maxim that the best time to have planted a tree was like 20 years ago. The next best time is now. So we have not done well in following the due implementation of our laws, and laws are there to sanitize the society, and it has reinforced crime against the state. I'll give some examples. Have I mentioned it here that USA just mentioned some sponsors of terrorism and they have been sanctioned? Dubai did the same, and from the report that emanated from Dubai, you could trace that network of crime. What did Nigeria do? Beyond the fact that Chief Lai Mohammed, who was the then minister, just came out to say that they have identified about 400 sponsors of Boko Haram. I still keep asking, who are the oil thieves in Nigeria? Are they ghosts? We have arrested the boys working for them. We have arrested stolen crude oil. We have set batches on fire. And as a chief superintendent of police, one thing that really I hold on to is that every crime leaves a footprint.
Right.
That helps you in investigation. So who are the oil thieves? So what we are just saying, You are even talking about laying example. Which example? Laying is like foundation. It is skyscraper on that foundation already. Nigeria is a space where we are almost coming to the point where people will say, so what's the big deal about the crime? Look at the way the bandits are operating. Despite all the efforts and everything, sending letters now. They have now moved to the advanced level of terrorism to frighten that the people should even vacate their communities before they arrive. Because there is this concept in terrorism, which is called IOA. IOA means invade. When you invade, you occupy.
Okay.
Then when you occupy, you advance again. For some, it's through migration and things like that. So right now, people are scared to stay in their communities. And these people are occupying and everything. And recall I mentioned here years ago when the former governor of Ondo State came up with Amotekun, when he was warning the bandits in the Ondo State forest. And Malami was the Attorney General. He started coaching the Constitution, freedom of movement. And I asked, does freedom of movement also give license to criminals to come and be killing people? You see? So now they are saying they found ammunition in his house. Okay, now, can you not connect that to sponsoring terrorism? But, you know, Nigeria, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. So there is this high network, and some matters are resolved on phone. No, drop that matter. Don't proceed. No. Okay, you've done this. Okay, let this go. You know, because I'm still wondering, where is here Nigeria? You know, and the matter will just be, and you know, I always say something, and maybe by next week we are talking about another thing.
Would
maybe in 4 weeks' time we have forgotten El-Rufai ever admitted anything. So issues just come. But I wish my president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the best. You know, he has tried courageously to stabilize the economy, the nation, and everything. The wise say, and we learned it in literature, that uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. But even my president has said we should not pity him. That he
asked for the job.
But for us to secure the future of this country, the rule of law must prevail. Every citizen must respect the laws of the land, and those who flout the laws must pay for it. And commonwealth must be created for common good. And on that note, I'm setting an agenda. Maybe that forms our discussion next time. The Norway economy, if you check it, you will understand what is meant by commonwealth being created for common good. Norway has the largest deposit of sovereign wealth in the world now, because the oil money that they got, they invested it rather than just spend it anyhow. So right now, a country of about 5.6 million citizens or thereabout have, at least each citizen is worth about 345,000 US dollars, and they have that money for generations to come. So if poverty moves near Norway, that poverty will be consumed by prosperity fire before even getting to the border. That's what we're asking for in Nigeria. This country is too blessed to be named on the list of poverty. So we are appealing, and I hope that as God has given Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu the privilege of being our president and commander-in-chief this season, that God will use him to reposition and redirect Nigeria to the path of prosperity. No Nigerian should be poor by virtue of the resources we have. So those are my
even in the
concerns.
midst of the enemies?
Who are the enemies? See, sir, I've said it. Next to
look
God.
at the case you cited about insecurity in Nigeria.
Yes.
Obviously, we have some enemies within.
You know,
fighting the country.
I love you. I love you, Mavi. See, we research these things. So what happened to those who planned the coup? Why did they not succeed? There is capacity in this country. You heard me, sir? Did we not quell a coup attempt in Benin Republic?
We did.
I mean, you see, by the time we tell politics to go into the boot of the car and allow governance to drive the car, you will see the glory of Nigeria shining. Politics is doing a lot of damage to us in this country.
Right.
You see, Nigeria, you know, we now have monazite. We have California. We have gold. We have
these mineral
oil.
resources.
In fact, I was on a state visit to a state in the south. I was discussing the electricity project with someone. And he told me that, Barrister, do you know that Nigeria is not even an oil field? That Nigeria is a gas field. Now we are talking of grid collapsing.
Can you imagine when we can? But then we are even wasting
Nigeria,
the gas, the flaring.
that the first installation of electricity was around 1896 in this Lagos. Go to Ijora, you see that abandoned
field
station there.
Yeah.
Egypt has 100% access to electricity. What is our problem?
Corruption. So
and I'm also suggesting, let me shake the table a bit. You see, even if you real time, if you transmit voters, their photos to IREF, we will not solve the problems we have in Nigeria. Do you know what will solve it? When senators begin to earn the salary of a professor in the university.
Okay, all right.
Senator, say your salary 600,000 per month. Are you okay with that? You will see that you will be begging people to come and vote, to come and contest to be senator.
This has answered.
That is, you know, that's what we call equitable distribution of wealth.
This has answered the question I was going to ask you, because I was going to say that beyond the personalities involved in this particular case, what are some of the systematic changes that we can begin to institute as a country to fight corruption? And absolutely, you've mentioned one of them. Is there any other one you'd like to mention before we go?
You know, let's realize that the insecurity of one is the insecurity of all. Nigeria can be secured the moment you realize that there is no country without citizens, and that you are coming back. You see, I say it's only my Father, the Almighty God, that will not leave office.
Right.
He is from everlasting to everlasting. Human being, we leave office.
Sure.
You know, whether you are good in office or bad in office, you leave the office. So what legacy
do you want to leave?
Do you want to leave behind? So once again, I wish my president the best. It's not an easy assignment, but it's a possible assignment to reposition Nigeria amongst the prosperous nations of the world, you know, so that you can work for 3 days in a week. And then the japada they will
japada. Okay, we'll have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Barrister Jide Ologun, lawyer and political affairs analyst, for finding time to be with us here on the conversation this morning. But you forgot to give your normal closing line. God bless Nigeria.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to learn. You know, God has blessed Nigeria, and may the glory of this nation arise and shine. You know, and it's up to man to make way for that to shine, because God has already blessed us.
This country. Prophetic words again we've heard this morning from Barrister Jide Ologun. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, Adebimpe and Joy will be here with their Lagos conversation. What